This is the Revved Up Sports Show coming to you from Texas. Hashtag Real Race Talk. Special edition midweek and special edition indeed. Rodney Rodriguez with you, Studio 4 in Round Rock. Happy to be joined on the Revved Up Sports Show hotline by the driver of the number 19 Toyota Camry for Bill McAnally Racing in the K&N Pro West Series, Miss Hailie Deegan. How are you doing today, Hailie?
I'm doing just great. How are you?
You know, we are doing exceptionally well. How's the weather where you are? That's the first question I'll ask, I guess.
Man, it's cold. I'm in North Carolina, actually, and it's freezing here.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like the cold.
Yeah, I think.
Why would I race hot cars?
That's exactly right. I think, although I think you there and me here in Texas, we're better off than a lot of folks are.
Yeah.
Quickly before we dive in, and again, thanks so much for joining us. Our listener base has just grown over the last year, and you're one of those folks that they would love to hear from. So welcome to Texas.
Yes, thank you.
How's your off season been, or do you even get one?
Man, it's been boring. Honestly. I think all my deals right now are we're still trying to get stuff figured out last minute. We haven't had time to test a lot as much as I wanted to. And, man, I just haven't been in the car as much as I would like.
Yeah, that after a long season. I did see, though, I think I saw somewhere, I saw you on a cart. I think you were getting after it on a real quick cart somewhere.
Oh, go-karts. Yeah, I race. I practice in go-karts. I train in go-karts. My driving coach, actually, he owns a go-kart track, so me and my racer friends go there and practice during the week.
Nothing wrong with that. That's a good way, very good way to practice. So let's pull the curtain back. Obviously, we know the success, your recent success, but let's go way back. This winning and being a successful competitor, that's nothing new to you. You've been doing it for a long time. How did it all start for you?
It all started when I was 8 years old. My dad got me, I went to one of his races, and that's when he was making that transition from freestyle motocross to off-road trucks, and there's these kids my age racing trucks, little trucks, and I wanted one so bad. So my dad didn't even, tell me about it. I'm the one that started begging him to get me a truck. And for my 8th birthday, he ended up getting me one.
Yeah.
I'm still persistent like that. But he ended up getting me one. And ever since, I just fell in love with it. Yeah, I wasn't the fastest person out there at first, but after a few years, got used to it, moved up a class or two, and we started becoming the person to beat, winning championships. So it was just a great overall way into racing, off-road racing was, and it's just a different avenue to start racing.
Yeah, and of course your dad, Brian Deegan, he himself, that's a legend right there in my mind. Let's talk a little bit about him. Obviously a great dad, but man, when you've got somebody like that's of course helping, grooming you and coaching you, that only makes it even better.
Exactly. My dad's one of my favorite people ever, favorite person ever, and he's just so real. He's so honest. We'll go out there and he'll train with me. He'll work out with me. He'll practice with me. He'll push me to my limits further than I thought I could go. He just makes me an overall better person and better driver.
That's awesome. That is super awesome.
Which is funny, seeing how he was when he was younger during the whole medal Mesa phases.
Yeah, right.
That you probably know of.
That's right. That's exactly right. Well, I'm a dad myself, so things, as you grow a little longer in the tooth, things kind of change a little bit when it comes to stuff like that. But so in your opinion, just obviously between motocross and between the dirt stuff, Jimmy Johnson, a great example, how has that helped you? It's one of those things where around here we had a little quarter-mile track, and people said if you could race there, you could race anywhere. Your stuff on the dirt and the off-road, that has to really help prepare you for just about anything you're going to see.
Yeah, I think the reason why I was able to transition into stock car racing so quick was because of how aggressive off-road racing is. You're constantly beating and banging and bouncing off people and just pushing yourself so hard, and there's dirt flying everywhere. You're shifting. You're hitting tons of people. It's just there's so many things. You're flying through the air. There's just so many factors and equations that come in. Stock car racing is just broken down so much easier.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's easy. It's definitely not. But it's broken down into easier segments to understand.
Yeah, absolutely. A little more, you hate to say finesse because I've been in cars and it's certainly not finesse, but that does help a little bit, a little smoother, maybe,
Yeah.
some of the cutoff points and
hmm
so forth. So then you did get into the stock cars. How was that for you? It seems like just about with everything you've done, Hailie, you jumped in with both feet and immediately successful.
Yeah, I think that it not necessarily was immediate. It was kind of hard in the beginning of the season, finding like what crew chiefs worked for me, what crew guys, just how everything was going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And because, I don't know, it was something I had to figure out. I had to figure out what I liked, what I didn't like, what I felt through the car, because I didn't know how to make changes, what changes to make. I had no clue. I'd never really been in a stock car. So it's like, how do you know something if you've never done it before?
Right.
And so I've never done this, so I didn't know. And it took me a while to learn. A while is in probably like, I'd say 5-6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then you saw, I was probably running like mid-pack. I'd say about mid-pack.
Yeah.
Mid-frontish, not front, but like I was probably just right out of the top 5.
Right. Right.
And it was kind of like that for the first half of the season. And then like midway through the season, I remember it was in Oregon. And I just flipped the switch and I was like, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to go out there and drive this thing like how I drive an off-road truck. And ever since then, I have found a crew chief that worked well with me, had the same mentality.
Yeah.
And ever since then, everything's been super successful.
I talked to a racer once, an old racer that I put a lot of stock in what he says. And he said that a lot of times if you don't do exactly what you said, if you don't get in there and just go, if you're a little apprehensive or whatever, that's when you get yourself in trouble.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I totally agree.
yeah, no doubt about it. So with the late model stuff, you did do some late model stuff. Your thoughts on those days? A nice springboard. All of that kind of transitions nicely now.
Yeah, I didn't do a ton of it. I'd say just went to a couple tracks, did some stuff, but not a ton. Definitely not a lot.
Yeah.
Definitely when I got in the K&N car. I don't know. We really made the transition into K&N racing, and I was like, oh man, I don't know if I'm ready. Like, I've only done a few late model races. Like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. But we went out there, and we definitely had our struggles in the beginning of the season. But it's about how you overcome those struggles, not how you get yourself into them. So I think once we overcame them and found out, like, what worked for me, what worked for the car, and everything, we went right to the front.
Yeah, you certainly did, and a couple of poles, and then that win. I mean, that was just so cool there at Meridian. I know this is probably the most asked question you've had in the last several months, but let's talk about that day. How cool was that? And then just the win, the pass. That was so cool that night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like, it's funny you say that because I don't think there's a day that goes by that someone doesn't bring it up, which is cool, definitely. There's, like, nothing negative about it.
Right.
And I think that, oh, man, just everything that happened from one of my other teammates getting stuck with the lapper, from him, like, not protecting the bottom of the last lap, everything just, like, that late race caution, me just having hit, like, a perfect lap, 2 to go, and there were just so many things that played into what the outcome was.
Yeah.
And I think that I just had to, I don't know, that was one moment where it was like, if I'm ever in second and have this opportunity, like, I'm not letting it go. I'm not, it's like you only regret the things you didn't do.
Absolutely.
I had to shoot my shot right there.
That's right. And I did read with the move there, and it just shows, I mean, even you at a younger age as a race car driver, how you set that move up where there was a point of the race as you found a spot there in the corner where your car was better, where you were able to do something, and that's essentially what allowed you to make that move and win that race. Yeah,
it's crazy because I knew we were better, but I knew we weren't like a lot better.
Uh-huh.
So it was going to be close. So I was like, how hard it is to get around people. You have to be so much faster to get around them. So everyone's good. But it's funny you say that because talking about like me go-karting back a little while ago. I went to the go-kart track the day before I flew to that race in Meridian, Idaho.
Uh-huh.
And me and my driving coach, he'll occasionally come out there and practice with me when my friends aren't there.
Right.
And we just straight practiced that. I was there for like eight hours that day, just practicing bump and runs and just pushing each other into the corners. and just enough not to wreck them, but just enough to get them out of the way, go under, and we would do it to each other for hours and hours, me and my driving coach. And it so happened that it came down to that, and I was really...
Isn't that amazing? It's just a sign of things to come when you sit there and you perfect that. And just how were you, I don't want to ask you if you were flabbergasted, I guess, but by all the excitement. Everybody you're the first lady to win one of those events. I mean, it's been a long time. I think back to Shauna Robinson, but everybody went crazy. That you were everywhere. That had to have been. You had to step back at some point and say, "Wow, this is amazing."
Yeah, I think still to this day, just looking at it, I'm like, that's something that will never be taken away from me.
Yeah,
and that's just that one thing that I can hold on to that like no one else can do. And there's not many things that no one else has done before in today's day and age in NASCAR racing. So just because it's such a old, unique sport that has a lot of things accomplished within it and a lot of history. And that's just one thing that I get to say, like, oh, I was that girl. And it's still crazy to say, but I don't feel like accomplished. Like, I don't feel like done.
Right.
Like, now I'm like, okay, I got a taste. Now I want a championship.
Yeah, and that's a plan for you. You seem very grounded, and you have the big picture. Where I mean, you're happy where you are. You want to win that championship. You've got the Rookie of the Year from this past season, but you're set. That is your goal, isn't it? To run that K&N car and win that title.
Yeah, I have one goal this year, and that's it.
That is perfect. I mean, that's nice. When you set your goal, it's just one thing: win the championship.
Yeah.
Hailie Deegan joined.
I mean, we got little ones too, but
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Here on the Revved Up Sports Show, just a couple more minutes here with you again. I appreciate the time so much. Something that you said there, we talked about you being a young lady that wins that NASCAR race. I love how your thought process is you want to be the best driver, not the best female driver. You want to be the best.
I think that's always been like that. Ever since I grew up, all my best friends were guys. I raced against all guys. It sounds weird, my dad treated me like one of the guy racers. And that's just like, I grew up like that. And my dad didn't treat me like, oh my gosh, it's okay, sweetie, you're the best girl out there. And like, he never would say that to me.
Right.
Like, I come in and I get second to like a guy that's 4 years older than me, and he asks, he's like, why aren't we the fastest ones out there? Well, what do we got to do next time?
Sure.
It's just how I was raised. And even if like people have more experience than me, I never let it be like, oh, well, that's why they beat me. It's always, I have something to learn. I have something to accomplish. I have something to show everyone. And I want to just do my best ability at showing that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's really what it's all about. You're always trying to get better. And that's how you get to that championship. That's how you win those goals. So dirt versus pavement. There's that debate's gone on forever with old folks like dirt versus pavement. Which one do you like better? I'm an asphalt guy on dirt. I'm terrible when I race on it. But your thoughts. Your thoughts. Do you prefer either?
Oh man, I've been getting asked this a lot lately for some reason. I think that I've been racing dirt for almost 10 years, which is crazy. Somewhere like 17. Wow. But for 10 years, I've been racing on dirt, and I've accomplished everything I wanted to already.
Yeah.
By the time I was 15. So, like, I stopped racing. It's new to me. It's fresh. It's like a fresh breath of fresh air. And I think that it's just a new challenge. And something like I'm hungry to accomplish and stuff, and I want to get done.
Yeah.
And I think that right now I'm on the pavement side.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to love whichever one that you're doing at that time. That goes without saying. Saw you on the 2019 Forbes Women in Sports to Watch list. Now that's an honor right there, isn't it? That is kick butt.
Yeah, I didn't even know I was going to be on it until the article came out. I saw it on Twitter.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's awesome. It's a very nice list to be on. Quickly, just a couple of crazy things that people have mentioned to me to ask. So somebody read somewhere where you said about the only thing that keeps you a normal teen is like the music. Your life is just so complicated. The music is about the only thing that you have in common with most other teenagers.
It's funny because people ask me, like, music, like, oh, do you sing? I'm like, no, you don't want to hear
That would be awesome. That would be great. And your graduation at a racetrack doesn't get much better than that, does it?
Oh yeah, that was so cool at Sonoma, especially since we got to race against quite a few cup races in that race. Yep. It was a crazy experience. Everything was moving so quick. It was like, graduation, get in the car. Oh my God, I'm late to get in the car already. There's just so much going on.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Hailie, is there anyone, and I'll wrap it up here with you, is there anyone, currently that we would look at in the Cup Series that you would, emulate a driving style? I talked about Jimmy Johnson. I totally see you as like a Kyle Larson, where you're going to jump in anything and just go. You have no fear, it seems like. Anyone? It's
funny because now you say that, my favorite driver is Kyle Larson.
There we go. There we go. Well, your styles resemble very much so. So when's the season get kicked off for you guys? I know we're almost to Daytona. It's time to rock and roll.
Yeah, February 10th, Speed Weeks. I'll be there that week, racing my K&N car. I might actually be there in the late model, too.
Sweet. Very, very nice. Mm-hmm. That'll be fun. You got to be chomping at the bit, ready to get some excitement happening.
Oh, my gosh, I've been dying over here.
I bet you have.
I just want to go race.
I bet you have. That is super awesome. Congratulations on all your success. It has been a pleasure to watch it from here, and to get you on our program. That's super cool. We're gonna look back one day when you're a Cup champion and say we had her on.
I hope so.
Absolutely. Best of luck in 2019.
Awesome. Thank you.
Congratulations. Have a great season. Let's win a championship.
Thank you.
You bet. Take care. There is Hailie Deegan right there, everybody. You heard her right here on the Revved Up Sports Show. Just as we told you, that was going to be a cool one. She's a champ. Big things are to come. We thank her for her time. Thanks to Laura Finley as well, helping get that set up. The Revved Up Sports Show, RevvedUpSportsShow.com, archives at HornFM.com. # Real Race Talk deep in the heart of Texas. Have a great rest of the week, everybody.